Welcome to the It Matters podcast. I'm your host, Walter Perez, and let's dive in as we help you grow your mindset and elevate your leadership. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the It Matters podcast. I'm so pumped that you're here joining me today because I'm excited about the topic that I want to chat with you about today. I want to talk to you about growing as you're going, grow as you go. If you've ever read any of my blogs, if you've ever seen maybe any of my emails, you've probably seen me at some point right in there, grow as you go. Because I'm a strong believer that we need to grow. As I continue to study leaders, as I commit myself to looking at leaders that are in high positions like CEOs, business owners, entrepreneurs, and we look at leaders that lead teams and volunteers, leaders that are maybe in smaller capacities, leading just one or two people, whatever it is, whether you're a parent, whether you're a teacher, whatever arena you found yourself, I find that the leaders that succeed, the leaders that win are the leaders that make a decision to grow, that you need to grow. And I'm finding I'm a little bit passionate about this because I'm finding that there's a lot of individuals out there that are using excuses on why they're not leaders. They're using excuses like, well, I don't have that position. Well, I'm not someone who runs a company. Well, I don't lead a team. And I get where that's coming from because our culture likes to put leaders on pedestals and people on pedestals. And sometimes the reality is that they have a great position, but they're actually not great leaders. And I believe in what John Maxwell says, that leadership is influence. And so if you have influence, you have leadership qualities. Maybe it hasn't developed, but you are a leader. You have the potential to develop that leadership skill set and become amazing at what you do. But the reality is that we have to stop thinking that if we're not leading a whole whack of people, if we're not in a company, if we're not in a humongous organization, that we're not leaders. You are a leader. And yes, you need to have people following you, but you got to start by leading yourself. If you lead yourself well and you make the decision that you would follow yourself, if you decide, I want to follow myself, and you can lead yourself well, then you're going to start that momentum building of having other people lead, that you can lead, and people that will follow you. And so I really want to get into your minds that you are a leader, but now you got to make a choice to develop that skill set, that leadership skill set. Because this is a reality that we all have to face. We're either growing or we're dying. We're either growing or we're decaying. We're either moving forward or we're moving backwards. One thing that I have learned is that you do not stand still. If you choose not to do either, you're still going to start moving backwards. Growth happens intentional, and you have to decide to be focused on it so you can actually see progress and you can start winning and moving forward. So it's a scary thing to think that if I just stand still and don't pick a side, that everything's just going to be good and dandy. And the reality is that it's not. You're going to slowly create these other habits that will end up moving you backwards, and you'll end up getting caught in a rut, and you'll end up finding yourself one day waking up and going, how did I get here? I'm not where I wanted to be. And that's because you didn't intentionally choose to grow and move the other way. Another thing that we need to realize is that the leader that you are today, is not suitable to lead a year from now, whatever it is that you're leading, whatever the organization is, whatever the company, whatever groups. The leader that you are today is not going to be suitable enough to lead in a year from now. I want you to stop and pause and think about that, because that means we need to grow. And why do I make a statement like that? I make a statement like that because our culture is ever moving and growing and adapting and pivoting. It's evolving. Things change. There, people come, people go. Your teams are going to look different. People are growing as well. Even if you're not, people are changing, and leadership is not a light task. It has its challenges, and there's so many moving parts that if you're not growing, if you're not working on yourself, how do you expect to lead those others that are maybe evolving and growing? And even the ones that are not growing, those ones can be sometimes the most difficult to lead because they need an extra little push. They need a different perspective. They need sometimes for you to walk with them and encourage them, and to show them vision on where they should be going and where maybe the company or the organization is going. And so we need to grow. And I truly believe in that. The other statement that I've shared before, that your business, your community, your project will not, uh, you won't grow or lead it, go beyond the level of your leadership. It won't evolve beyond the level of your leadership because you're going to cap it. And you're not going to do that intentional, but you will cap it because you will have ways that you want to do things, and if you're not learning, if you're not growing, you will end up holding it back. And so it's very crucial that we understand these ideas and these principles, that we need to grow as leaders. We need to come up with ideas on how we're going to implement new habits, new rituals, new ways of living our lives, so then we can keep on pace to everything around us. And yes, we're not going to be perfect. There's always going to be opportunities to grow, but can you be honest with yourself and say, yes, I'm intentionally growing? And if you can't answer that question truly, then we got to stop and reflect. It's okay. Let's draw a line in the sand and let's figure out how we can change and adapt. Here's another thought. I have a lot of different thoughts when it comes to this, because I want to go back to this idea: who are the leaders out there? And I think sometimes teenagers that are coming up, kids that are coming up, they get caught up in this idea that the adults, the ones that have gone before them, are looking down on them and they're not qualified to lead. And the reality is that actually we have great and amazing leaders starting out young. And they're not just the leaders of tomorrow, they're the leaders of today. Those of us who have gone ahead and and learned a few things, we need to encourage the younger leaders on how to develop their leadership skill set. And we need to bring them along, and we need to show them, we need to direct them, we need to encourage them and help them along, just like so many have helped us along the way. The other thing that I'm seeing is that those who have entered maybe a season in their life, that are in their late 50s and 60s, and they think that they're done. They think that whatever has happened in their life, it is good. They've accomplished enough, and they want to kind of throw in the towel. And they think, well, I don't have a business. I'm not leading a team. I'm not I don't have an organization. I am not a leader. Leadership lessons or teachings and encouragement and inspiration and motivation doesn't apply to me. Can I tell you, you are dead wrong. You're dead wrong. Everything that I have right now focused on doing is to encourage all ages, all areas of life, is that you are a leader. Until you breathe that last breath of life, you have leadership potential, and you have leadership qualities that need to come alive, because you have influence. I assure you, you have influence. I assure you, you are probably an opinionated individual that has ideas and thoughts about how things could look different, how things should be done differently or better. Or you have, if it was you in that position, you would do it differently, and you have those thoughts. I guarantee that you do, because all of us are wired that way. The thing is that sometimes we have opinions that are unqualified, or we haven't really learned what we're putting our opinions towards, or we haven't really taken the time to educate ourselves, or even to understand that other perspective. And so when we grow, when we choose to learn how to develop our leadership, it puts us in a space to be able to have some influence, but positive influence. You've heard me say we want to lead well. It's not just about leading. It's not about just careless leadership. We need to be intentional, and we need to do it well, because there's a lot at stake. There's a lot, if you're leading groups and projects and organizations, there's people that are involved, real people. They're not robots. They're people that need to be led well. I mean, we all deserve to be led well. And so, but it needs to start somewhere. It needs to start somewhere. And I think it needs to start with you, and it starts with me. And we need to get the ball rolling, and hopefully it ripples, and we end up doing a good impact. And in fact, some of the impact that we bring to this world, we might never even see. We might not even see. It'll ripple endlessly, and it'll impact some people, and it'll might even change people's lives. To think that we might be coasting to life, not trying to do our best with our influence, and we're maybe holding back on being able to impact some lives that could be transformed because of what you do. It could be transformed. It could create a ripple into the world, that it could be transforming, and it could change the world. I truly believe that what you do matters. What you do matters, and growing is one of those things that we need to do. Growth is important because it allows us to step into our potential, and allows us to discover things that you can't even imagine. And you might even discover that you like different things. You might discover that you have different passions. You might even evolve your vision for whatever you want to do, and it tweaks and changes. It actually becomes bigger. I actually believe that as you continue to grow, your dreams get bigger and better. So you don't know what your potential will look like, because as you reach your potential, by the way, I don't ever believe that you can reach your potential, because when you get to that level, you start already realizing that you have more potential, and then you have more potential. And so that's what growth allows us to see. But it's important that we don't get stuck in going like, well, when I get to that goal, I'm going to settle and I'm going to stop and I'm done. No, growth is journey focused. We're on a journey to grow and to continue to discover the things that that God has called us to do. And I don't know if everybody has different callings, I believe, and different purpose and passions. But my goodness, if we were all tapping into that, I think the world would be a better place. So, what do you need to do to grow? What do you need to do to become somebody that grows as they go? First of all, I think you need to make a choice. I think it's actually that simple. You first make a choice to say, I'm going to be one of those people. I'm going to decide to be a leader that does not stand still and decides to grow. I'm just going to make that decision. I'm going to decide that actually I am a leader, and that it doesn't matter what position do I have in the world. It doesn't matter how old I am. It doesn't matter what I do. It's not too late. It's not too early. I'm not going to play a comparison game with what everybody else is doing or has done. I'm a leader, and I'm going to choose to grow. Maybe the next step would be that I'm going to choose to make a plan to grow. Because if you don't make a plan, you're basically planning to fail. You've heard that before. And so you got to plan, you got to make a system, and you got to create habits. And sometimes it's a slow process, and you got to take one step at a time. I think in this scenario, you got to have some grace on yourself. It's not about perfectionism. It's about being consistent and having and noticing progress. So what are the things that you need to do that needs to change? When it comes to old habits, it's not just about eliminating old habits. It's about replacing those old habits with something new. And so maybe you watch a lot of TV. So in that, you're going to replace a few minutes of that, and you're going to read. You've heard me say that tons of time, because I truly believe that. But good books, by the way, you got to read good books, books that actually can impact and change your life. You got to listen to different audios. You got to get people around you. You've heard me talk about community so much that you're probably going to get sick of it, because I believe in it, and I'm seeing too many of us dropping the ball in that area. We're not getting good people around us that believe in us and that encourage us and that hold us accountable. You got to decide, like, what are those things that you want to work on, that you need to work on? Maybe there's a specific area that you're aware of that needs a little bit of work. And I think maybe a common denominator here, sometimes it's the way we think. We need to shift that, and we need to start working on that. And we have to have some patience and some grace, because when some of us start this journey, We think and we expect it to be transformed overnight. We want to be transformed overnight, and that's just not how it goes. Think about it. If you're let's say 40 years old and you're starting that process today, you've had, 40 years, 30 years, 20 years, whatever it was, of you thinking negatively and looking down at yourself and not actually being proactive in how you grow. And you have all those years behind you. Now you want to see change in one day. I mean, maybe, but now you got to just put some time. And I actually think that when you make a commitment and you start the momentum, you get cravings and hunger to do more and more and more. And when that ball starts moving, when you pick up momentum and momentum is on your side, oh my goodness, anything's possible. Amazing things will happen. But you got to start by actually making those choices and making a plan on what you want to do. And so when you and those are just some simple ideas, but I just want you to get in the mind frame that you are able to grow. It doesn't matter how old you are. You are able to change. You have enough resources and a lot of things around you that would help you do that. And so I want you to hear me that it matters. It matters how you live your life. It matters what you think of yourself. It matters what you're doing to develop your leadership. And if you understand that, you'll start living your life different. And when you start living your life different, you start impacting people's lives. And the legacy that you'll leave behind, some of it you may know and some of it you may not ever hear about it, but you're going to leave a legacy behind that is circled around adding value to people, with not even with the idea of wanting to receive something in return, but just because you want to put good out into the world. And so I wanted to talk about that because I want to encourage you all to remember that you are a leader. It's not about whether you're a leader or not. It's about what are you doing to grow and what are you implementing. And you can get people around you. You can start going to connecting events, and like the way we have put the iConnect party together, where you get around other like-minded people. You start making goals. You start making dream boards and vision boards that allow you to look forward, be a forward thinker, and then start having this life that pursues, and not just stuck and swimming in maybe in regret and swimming in the things that you haven't done and failure and all that. That's no good. And you're not disqualified. You're not done. You just have to choose to say, okay, I'm going to change my life today. I'm going to change my life. I'm going to make the choice to change it today. And now I'm going to go figure out how to do it. One of my favorite quotes that I ever heard was, a successful person makes the decision to do something, and then they go and figure out how to do it. So as a leader, make the decision today to want to be better, to grow, to pursue a better life, to pursue your dreams, those ideas and thoughts that you have. Make the choice, and now go figure out how to do it. Invite the people into your life, invite counsel, advice, coaching, read good books, listen to great people, and have a great attitude, and work on yourself first if you need to for a little bit. Believe in yourself so then others can believe in you. So anyway, I'll leave you with that thought. I hope this impacts you. Comment what you're working on. Share with somebody else that needs to hear this message. It is a simple concept, a simple idea, but we need to hear it more often, because I'm getting tired of seeing people get stuck and believe lies that are not true. You're a leader and you're not done growing. You're not done growing. God's not done with you, and you have so much to offer the world. So keep on leading. Remember, lead well. I want you to continue to dream big, and I want you to grow always, not just sometimes, but moving forward. I want you to lead well. And when you do it well, you'll be proud at the end of your life that you did everything you could, and that you'll end well as well. All right. This has been fun. That's it for now. We'll catch you on the next episode.